Alright, so this is a game from the Age newspaper in Melbourne on Saturday the 29th of August. It's a position from the Russian Super Final, which was on recently. And this is a game between Tomashevsky and I don't know how to say the last name of the other guy. So the position is white to move, and if you want to pause the video and see if you can find the best move, do it now. And we'll have a chat about this position and how you might go about trying to solve it. So let's have a look at the features of the position. We can see that black has a material advantage with an extra pawn. So black has these two pawns on the queen side to white's one, whereas on the king side white has three pawns, black's two. So black is a pawn up. It's also a passed pawn, which is quite important here. Interesting to note that black's last move was rook to d7, which, as a rule of thumb, you want to get a rook behind a pawn. This can help reinforce this passed pawn using the rook as a coordinated piece. Potentially, black can also get its other rook and queen into stronger positions, improving the quality value of their pieces soon. So black is pawn up, has a material advantage. So it's important here that white forces the initiative to consolidate the better position of their pieces before black can get fully consolidated, perhaps simplify the position and turn its material advantage into a win. Some couple other things that we can look at that might help us here is that black has a bit of a space advantage here. White has a pawn here which is stopping the G and the H pawn, effectively freezing them here, and has a pawn on F2 and a pawn on G3, which can start rolling forward. It's interesting also to note that white's last move was pawn to G3, and it appears that they played this move because they already have a very good position for their pieces, and I also believe that black was under time pressure here and that white didn't take very much time, less than a minute, to play this pawn to G3, and I think that's simply an example where a grandmaster knows the importance of improving their position with each move, and that's what they've done by playing G3. So what else can we say about this position? Let's have a look at, we've looked at pawns, let's have a look at rooks. So as you can see here, white's rooks are in better positions. It's dominating the E file, and these rooks are effectively connected, and whereas blacks have slightly less activity with one rook behind its pawn, they're not connected, and potentially they can be improved fairly soon, but they need to do it pretty quickly because white's already set up this Alekhine gun, which is extremely powerful, especially given how the position of the black king is a lot more vulnerable than white's, which is another feature of this position. So white's king is safer than black's. Black's is exposed, although it is close to where their action is most likely to happen. It can sometimes be strong, but I wouldn't say so with queens on the board and with these menacing rooks. So what else can we look at? Now we can perhaps look for some weaknesses in this position. We can see that black has a weak pawn on a7 and a weak pawn on g7. They could be potential focal points for an attack. We also have, on the white side of the board, we have a pawn here, which is potentially weak. The queen is protecting at the moment, but it could be weakened if we want to move our queen into an attack. We also have a pawn here on f2, which is precarious, because as you can see, we have rook and queen both threatening to attack f2, where we have a king. So this suggests to me that this white queen, we want to take into attack. We have some potential mating threats here. Or here. We'd love to be able to play those moves if we could. One potential drawback of that is that we leave the defense of f2, and black has a mating threat here, or at least a mating attack. So let's make some decisions about where to focus our time and energy to work out what the best attack is for white here. So I mentioned before that we have potential mating threats. In an ideal situation, we could set up mate on e6. We can't at the moment because we have this rook here. So potentially we want to try to remove this rook. We might also want to mate on e7, which we can't because there's another rook here and there's also the queen. So that's why I defended that square in that case. Perhaps we could think about doing some other things. Can we move this queen? Perhaps by playing rook to c8. It doesn't work because we lose that rook after queen takes, and we haven't made any progress, and in fact black's winning there. What else could we do? Could we try to deflect the king and set up a mating attack, some sort of mating net? Perhaps we might want to try to play something like rook to f8, king takes, queen to e7 is mate. How would black avoid that? Well, queen takes. What about we get a bit more imaginative and play rook all the way over here, the threat being queen mates on e7. But king can take queen, e8 check, and this rook, or queen. Call that defense, call that attack. So we talked before about deflecting this rook. It appears that back on the back rank, black's actually fairly safe because these rooks and queen provide cover and can come in for the defense and then perhaps go on the counter attack. stabilizing the position, winning materials. So how else can we use our qualitative advantage of our pieces here? Well, we're dominating E5. We have an Alekhine gun. What about bringing this rook back? It can be quite easy to overlook moving pieces backwards when we're trying to set up attack. I think intuitively we generally want to take pieces like this queen or rook and bring them further into the attack. Playing something like this with the queen to g4. We'd love to play something like queen to e6, but we discussed that we can't because this rook's in the way. What about this rook? What purpose is it serving there? It's cutting off the king from going back into its position, onto its back rank. It's also helping make our domination of e4 very strong. But we discussed that the defense of the back rank is potentially fine for black. So why don't we move this rook and reposition it, or use that as an attacking piece? And this is where we find rook to e6. This is an excellent move. And in fact, this is the move that was played in the game. And white is winning. So after this move was played, let's see what's... Yeah, so it's all over there. Because now, if black takes with the rook, queen takes e6, black has to go queen f8 and mate. Which is why the move that was played in the game by black was rook to d8. Rook takes, black takes, and there's nothing black can do. In fact, that is not the best move for the king to take. It's better to take with the pawn. After black takes with the pawn, we have queen to g4. A really strong move. Rook tries, black tries rook to g8. But then white can go d7, check. Black either loses the queen or can play its only legal move, king to f8. Followed by mate on e8. So this is a good example of having a look at evaluating position, realizing that we have black has a material advantage, meaning white has to press its advantage. before black can consolidate the position and strengthen the power of their rooks and queen, taking advantage of the vulnerable king here, thinking about how in an ideal world would we want to finish our mating attack, realizing that it may be too slow using this queen, and realizing that our efforts to attack around the king on the near the back rank can be foiled, and that this rook isn't serving a meaningful, worthwhile purpose, so that what we can do is bring it back to achieve what we imagined in the first place, which is to mate here, force black backwards, completely defensive, remove this defending piece, black's still a pawn up, but now it's got 4 pawn islands, weaker king position, accurate move to finish off black. It's all over. Thanks for watching this video. Next time hopefully we'll have something that is a little bit more of a simpler endgame. That's what I hope for anyway. If you like this video, please click like below or leave a comment.